For the past 2 years, Edward McGregor has been working as a conservationist at a wildlife reserve in North California. Even though he had credentials far superior than his post. When Edward first accepted the job, he thought he would build his way up. And fortunately, the hard work paid off. Edward was more than sure he was going to get that promotion he had desperately been waiting for. Congratulations, you've been promoted as the rangeland manager at the Burberry State Recreation Site. Thank you, this is such a big opportunity for me. Here's your tickets. The team needs you there as soon as possible. Tickets? Yes, the Burberry State Recreation Site is in Valdez, Alaska. Good luck. Edward was happy about the promotion, but about moving to the barren wilderness of Alaska? But that probably wasn't going to be the worst part in all this. How am I going to tell Caroline? Edward and Caroline had been dating for the past 4 years. And secret was, she was pregnant in her first trimester. Edward wanted to surprise her with the promotion, and then they planned to get married. But now what? Edward sneaked into the apartment that night. Ed, so how did everything go? Fine. And, did you get the promotion? Yes, I did. That's great. To what? As rangeland manager at a different site. It's a very beautiful place. Oh, we're moving. To where? The last frontier? Wait, what? Don't tell me you mean Alaska. Alaska? How can we move to Alaska? We were supposed to get married. My first trimester is going to be over this month. My belly is even starting to show. I don't want to look pregnant on my wedding. I know. It's not like we can't get married in Alaska. And it's not as bad as it sounds. Not all of Alaska is snow. Certain places are warm and cozy too. This is your quarter, Mr. McGregor. It's an hour from the site, but you'll be provided with a jeep for the travel. The weather drops into the negatives here, but the house has a heater, washer, dryer, and microwave, so it shouldn't be an issue. But I should inform you, there are some electrical issues, so it's best you stock up on batteries and lamps, and in case of an emergency, you can start up the fireplace. Thank you, Thompson. No problem. You brought me here, in the middle of nowhere? In this freezing cold? In this, cabin hut that doesn't even have electricity? No, Caroline. It's not a cabin. It's a small house. And he didn't say there wasn't electricity. He said it might go out. Edward. Edward received a kind and heartfelt welcome from the staff at Burberry, but things at home was everything but easy. Surprise, there weren't any restaurants around here. And the grocery shop, nearly an hour away, wasn't your ideal shopping place. Caroline, I got groceries. Groceries? What am I supposed to do with groceries? You don't have to do anything. Just sit back. I'm going to cook. Great. After all the surprises, now what? Caroline impatiently waited, looking out into the snow-covered fields outside. This place didn't even have any network. Within a while of waiting, finally, Edward came out of the kitchen. "I made you beef and cabbage stew. Doesn't look too bad." Edward felt a little relieved seeing Caroline soften up to dinner. But just moments after, "Edward, I'm not feeling so great." Caroline's pregnancy symptoms were over the roof. She vomited almost everything she ate, and she literally ate for two. And her mood swings were super unpredictable. She neither did any work around the house, not for herself, not for him, and she just wouldn't cook. Edward knew Caroline was upset about moving here, but he thought she would eventually get used to it. Until then, he made sure she got all the comforts she needed. And the days in Valdez were going by tough for Edward. But bliss for Caroline, though she would think the opposite. The first few days, Edward gave Caroline a lot of time. But soon, he got wrapped up in his work. Caroline was at home alone, irritated as she did the laundry. Turning on the washer, she hurried to watch TV. But as she passed by the kitchen, she suddenly heard a noise, as if someone was cooking. Edward's here already? But strange as it was, the room was empty. Where did that noise? When Edward came home that night, he opened the door to find candles lit around, wet clothes piled up in the living room, and Caroline wearing one of his shirts, trying to chop a log. "What are you doing?" "Pursuing my career as a lumberjack? That's why you brought me here, didn't you?" "Did the electricity go out?" "Yes, brainiac. And unfortunately, I put all my clothes in the washer." "All right, we can fix this. Give that to me." Edward started up the fireplace and dried out all the clothes around the entire living room. "Edward, do you hear that?" "What? Like someone's crying? Sounds like a woman." "I don't hear anything. I thought I heard it coming from the back." In the following days, Caroline had been hearing strange noises around the house, but she could never pinpoint where it came from. "Caroline, I'm home." Hearing Edward return one night, Caroline hurried out to meet him. When she suddenly heard footsteps towards the back door, Caroline went to check, just when she heard Edward's voice again from the living room. "Where are you going?" "Did you come in through the back door? I thought I heard you there." "There, I just walked in." "No, I'm sure I heard you towards the back door." Caroline ran to check the back door, but it was closed. "Edward, this isn't the first time. Whenever I'm home alone, I feel like there's someone else here. I keep hearing things." "What nonsense. The other day it was the noises in the kitchen, the crying." "Caroline, it's nothing. Hearing can get sensitive during pregnancy. And there are some wild wolves around here. Maybe you mistook that for crying." Caroline had been complaining so much about hearing strange things around the house. Edward knew it was probably just her excuses to get them to leave, but that wasn't going to happen. One cold evening, Caroline was waiting for Edward to be back when the electricity started acting up again. She got up to get the lamp out when she started to hear a cracking sound. Following the noise, she noticed one of the windows had started to crack in the cold. Caroline watched it increase until all of a sudden, the glass of all the windows completely shattered, blowing in tremendously cold wind. Frightened, Caroline ran to the bedroom and called Edward. But the phone wasn't working. What am I going to do? This time, when Edward returned home, he was shocked and concerned to see the condition of the house. "Caroline? Caroline, where are you?" Edward went into his bedroom to find Caroline wrapped in blankets, shivering in the cold. "What happened here?" "I don't know. I tried calling you, but the phone wasn't working. The electricity went out." "Edward, ever since we came, I've been feeling this presence. Strange things have been happening. We're not alone in this house." "Now you think this house is haunted? Have you lost your mind? How will you explain what happened today?" "You tell me. You were the one who was here." "I am telling you, something isn't right with this place." "You know what? We'll talk about this later. Let's get these windows fixed." Edward got out some plywood and managed to nail the windows shut. He then fixed the electricity. Turned out there had been a fuse. That's why the lights or the phone wasn't working. As the house heated up again, Caroline soon fell asleep, but Edward lay trying to figure what exactly happened. As he shifted in bed, he suddenly noticed something dark move in the hallway. What was that? It almost looked like a child. Am I getting delusional too? I need some sleep. The next morning, Edward assured Caroline everything would be alright before she finally let him leave for work. "Thompson, were there any other tenants living in the house before Caroline and I? Didn't anything happen there before?" "Yes. Why? Is there a problem?" "No, I was just asking. A man named Peter Simmons lived there with his wife. He was a ruggish man, went hunting, drank a lot with his friends. He wasn't your typical family man. Perhaps that was the reason behind all the issues. His wife ran away. After that, his drinking habits increased, and eventually the man was found dead in his backyard." Edward was a bit disturbed hearing the story. There was no way he was going to tell Caroline about a death that had occurred in the house. She was already paranoid. She didn't need her going crazy now. But that night, as they were having dinner, Caroline mentioned it herself. "You know, I was thinking of calling Thompson about the cabin. Maybe he knows something." "What? No, don't. Did you already?" "Why?" "'Cause I asked him already." "What did he say?" There was a man here who used to torture his wife, and one day his wife ran away from him, and he eventually died here." "I knew it! I knew it! This house is haunted. Now it all makes sense. You've become possessed by his spirit. That's why you torture me." "What? Are you crazy?" I'm cleaning the house, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning your vomit, and I'm torturing you? Yes, and now you're bragging about everything. That's psychological torture. This will only get worse, Edward. We need to exorcise you. You need protection from these evil spirits. Don't talk to me. As he thought, Caroline went crazy. From then on, she started offering him good luck charms. You have to wear this, it's for your protection. No, it looks ridiculous. She constantly threw water at him. What are you doing? I'm trying to exorcise you. And if Edward got the least bit annoyed, she even threw salt at him. Why are you throwing salt at me? It wards off evil spirits. In all this, Edward was assigned on an on-site duty towards the northern side of the terrains, where he had to inspect a large area of land. I'll be there for 2 nights. Can't you send someone else? Don't worry, Caroline. I cook lasagna, I even got your vomit bucket ready. You won't even realize I'm gone. All right. Caroline was a bit upset when Edward left. She missed him. Heating up the lasagna that night, she sat down to eat and watch TV. But just a while later, the wind started to pick up. And as usual, the electricity went out again. Caroline sighed as she got up to start the fireplace. She suddenly heard someone knock on the back door. She knew it wasn't Edward. Who is it? Open the door! Open the door! It's very cold outside. Startled hearing a woman's voice, Caroline immediately opened the door. But no one was outside. She stepped out to search, when the door shut behind her. The winds were piercing cold, and despite all her efforts, Caroline couldn't open the door. There was no way through the windows either, and Edward wasn't coming back tonight. Caroline's hands soon became frigid cold. She couldn't hold on to anything. There was nothing out here, nothing but snow. What was she going to do? Hopelessly, she started walking. Perhaps she could spot a car. But sometime into walking into the snow, Caroline's legs started to fail her. She was having difficulty walking. Suddenly, she slipped on something and fell. What's this? Peter Simmons and his wife, Vivian, used to live in this cabin about 2 years ago. They constantly had arguments, and things had come to the point where Vivian couldn't take it anymore. Peter, you have to stop this. You're never in your senses. How can we raise a family like this? Shut up and get out of here. No, Peter, things can't go on like this. Will you not think of your son, his future? I said, get out of here. And you know what? Take your son with you. One night, while Peter was drunk, in rage, he threw out Vivian and his 4-year-old son into the cold. Open the door! Peter, open the door! He's only a child! But Peter had become so intoxicated that he became senseless. And Vivian and her son were left out in the cold. They wandered out into the blizzard, and finding no help, clutching onto her son, they both passed away. Is everything all right? Just a little worried for my wife. She's in her second trimester. I was wondering, did the previous tenants have a child? Yes, they did. What? They had a child? Why didn't you tell me before? I have to get back. Thompson, handle everything here. This is an emergency. Edward immediately returned back home. But as he neared his house, his heart raced seeing fire trucks and ambulances. What happened here? Where's Caroline, my wife? You must be Mr. McGregor. Don't worry, your wife is safe. She had gotten locked outside. Edward breathed out in relief as he looked at Caroline in the ambulance. If it weren't for that young boy who informed us, something horrible could have happened tonight. Fireman! Fireman! My mommy is trapped in the snow! But what I just can't seem to understand, who was that child and where did he go? I know who he was. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.